we'll be covering a lot of those things. We've got Dr. Baird coming out, who's a Kontek SME, subject matter expert, in explosives, and he'll be assisting as well. It's going to be a great day event, and I think the guys are going to get a lot out of it related to breaching and explosives. It's fun, but you got to do it safely.
So we have some big news today. I'm here with my boys Pete and Billy over here from Kontek Industries. So we wanted to follow up with a big, fun, and exciting announcement. That's right. Kontek Industry Day 2021 at GTI, Government Training Institute in Aiken, South Carolina. I should say Barnwell, South Carolina. This is where we hosted our 2020 Kontek Industry Day. We had an awesome time out there, lots of explosives, lots of shooting, competitions, events, all that kind of fun stuff. So again, we're doing it this year. And with COVID in the rearview mirror, hopefully we're able to have a even more expansive experience getting personnel from nuclear security, Department of Energy, military, and law enforcement coming to this singular event. So what I want to do is just kind of give you guys a quick intro to what we're looking at doing and give you some of the basic introductory details. So this year, like I said, it'll be held at GTI, and it'll be on November 3rd and 4th, 2021. And with that being said, it'll be a 2-day event. And we will be running a series of training events this year. We're getting a bit away from what we did last year, which is more competitive shooting, kind of fun, going out, learning some basic new skills, implementing them on the range, and having a competition and having fun with it. So this year the layout's going to be a bit different, so I'm going to quickly go through that. And then I actually got 2 of our instructors over here. They'll be handling some of those instructional events. And have them talk a bit about what they're planning for their training periods. So, starting off, we're going to get to the sites on the 3rd. We'll kick off early morning, do some introductions, make sure everyone has a good safety brief, knows where everything's at, and you all be broken off into 3 separate groups. So there are 3 training courses going on during this 2-day event. The first one is going to be the fundamentals and foundation of tactical shooting, which Mr. Billy Barton will be instructing out there on the range. So he'll be hitting on a bunch of different carbine-related concepts, and so he'll be speaking to that in a second. The second course is going to be a tactical SWAT shield course based around a close quarters environment, and so that'll be handled with our partners over at B4DI and Blue Ridge Armor. And then lastly, we'll be doing a explosives breaching course with Mr. Pete Peterson, and he'll be instructing that period of instruction and giving the basics of conducting door breaches and wall breaches. So those would be the 3 main periods of instruction, and then we'll wrap it up nicely with a good old duke out nuclear style fight at the nuclear facility at GTI and have a force-on-force event where everyone will be given a mission set, target set that they need to acquire, and let both teams strategize and actually deploy a offensive and defensive strategy and see who comes out on top for the fun event at the end. And most importantly, food and beer. Like last year, there'll be plenty of that, so enough to go around. So anyways, I want to get you guys involved. So for the first course of instruction, the fundamentals and foundation of carbine shooting. Billy, can you give some insights into what the students may expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we're still in kind of the planning stages of everything, working out some of those final details, but definitely going to be doing the best that we can to use kind of the small amount of time that we have to give as much training value over the course of those 3.5 hours or so that we can, starting with just kind of the basics of how can we be as fast and accurate as we can with the platform that we have. In this case, which is primarily going to be an emphasis on carbine. Positional work, basic mechanics, shooting on the move. We're going to get in as much of that stuff as we can as time allows, depending on the individual groups and how fast we feel like we can move with that stuff. Obviously expecting everyone coming in is probably going to have a basic understanding of kind of the fundamentals of marksmanship and how their gun works and all that kind of stuff. So we're hopefully going to be able to just dive right in and say how can we level up our performance and hopefully find some real value there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's kind of a loaded question, so what would be the biggest key takeaway you'd want your students to take away from your course after spending 3.5 hours with you?
It's definitely going to be different for each individual
Sure.
student, right? So what we try to do in our training courses is find a way to tailor instruction in such a way that everybody walks away with something, and it's usually got to be tailored to the individual student. Some guys are going to walk away going, man, I just learned how to reset my trigger properly, and this is a game changer for my shooting, right? Other guys can be like, that is just like basic kindergarten grade stuff. And what I took away is, man, I didn't really figured out how to lower my center of gravity shooting on the move in a way that really stabilized my sights a lot. And now my ability to actually kind of move and shoot at the same time is going to be leveled up, right? It's going to be very different for each individual student.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Very cool. So we'll kind of gloss over the B40EI stuff with the shields. But in short, James Argos and his instruction crew will be out there giving tactical shield training. And so we will be incorporating our mobile modular shoot house as part of that. So it's going to be incorporating a lot what SWAT and SRT typically encounter, which is deploying shields into a close quarters environment. So that'll be the main focus of that course. And again, that course will be about a 3.5 hour course. And then leading up to your third and final course, which is explosive breaching by Pete. Pete, if you can give them a quick rundown of kind of what they can expect. And again, everyone, this is still in the planning phase. So any feedback, anything that you guys would find interest or take value from, whether in law enforcement or nuclear security, please email us after you see this video and say, hey, I think it would be a great idea if blank, because we get a lot of value out of that, right? So keep that in mind. But anyways, Pete, why don't you give us a quick rundown?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm basically going to be presenting, kind of explosive theory. We're going to go over a few things, give the guys a few case studies, just to give them some background. There's a lot of guys that are assaulters, security force individuals that don't actually get the hands-on with explosives and/or explosives training. So I think the intent is to really get these guys some hands-on, get to kind of look at it. They'll help out with some of the charge construction. We'll build initiation devices and the actual charges. We'll kind of show them some common charges that are used in tactical breaching for law enforcement, and then moving over to nuclear security. Obviously, those facilities are a little bit bigger. A lot more times you're not going through the doors. The door's a little bit more robust. So we'll do and talk about the wall and door charges, considerations for explosive breaching. Obviously, safety is paramount. The skill level is going to be dependent. There may be a few breachers mixed in the group, but by and large, it's probably going to be more along the lines of guys that know how to handle a firearm, that are security force officers. And so being able to kind of show them, they hear about these explosions. These guys, talk about breaching. They talk about what maybe a criminal or an adversary is going to do. Being able to kind of see both from the offensive side and the defensive side, hey, this is how we would employ a charge. This is what a breach team does. These are breach team responsibilities. And then kind of, moving up to a target and conducting those actions, giving them that ability to do it. And then, of course, obviously everybody's favorite part of breacher training is the explosion. So the intent is to have a couple door charges definitely go off, kind of showing similar to the facilities that they work in and out of, and then as well move into some wall breaches that are very specific to nuclear security, which will kind of give them a good idea of what an explosion like that kind of feels like, what it looks like, what the aftermath is. I think far too often, we do a lot of training and only the breacher gets that experience, maybe not some of the other assaulters. These guys that work in the industry, they may have to go through that hole, defend that particular breach, or figure out and report, observe and report back to a higher authority on what action to take next when those things occur. So we'll be covering a lot of those things. We've got Dr. Baird coming out, who's a Kontek SME, subject matter expert, in explosives, and he'll be assisting as well. It's going to be a great day event, and I think the guys are going to get a lot out of it related to experience when it comes to being in and around explosives, kind of seeing what it takes to get to the execution phase, and then seeing post what it looks like, and kind of just getting to experience it, because breaching and explosives, it's fun, but you got to do it safely. So, and that's what we're looking forward to.
No, absolutely. And yeah, we're pumped for this event. And I think last year, if for the guys that are coming back from last year was very, very fast paced, and it was event to event to event to event, which has its pros and cons, right, on both sides. This year, we're slowing it down a bit, giving these guys more time on the training side. It's to be much more of a value add from the training aspect and the sharing and passage of knowledge between, law enforcement, nuclear security, and all those guys in the instruction group, more so than it was last year. So focusing more on training, less on fun competition shootings, but you can't go there and not have fun. So we'll absolutely do a nice 3-hour-long force on force event with sim munitions gear and all that stuff inside a nuclear plant and see how well you guys can defend the nukes. So, with that being said, GTI, November 3rd and 4th. moving forward, you should have invites be going out at the end of July. So if you're interested between now and then to be on the invite list, please email us. If you know us personally at Contact, you can email us directly. If not, you can shoot us an email at info@kontekindustries.com. But all the agenda, all the equipment list, all that good stuff will be launched out to you all by the end of July. And so give you guys a few good months to plan, prepare, commit, and get out there to train. So outside of that, you guys have anything else?
I just want to say it's going to be a great tool for networking. You know, before I came on to Kontek, you know, I'm a new addition. A lot of the guys, you had just run your industry day. A lot of the folks in DOE, nuclear security, law enforcement, you know, I still mingle with a lot of former soft guys, and all of them had seen a lot of the footage and the video. Hey, it's a great networking tool. You got to figure, you've got all these different agencies, all these different organizations, and all these different guys with different levels of experience, training, and capability. Being able to come together and kind of have a conversation, you guys are all protecting the same stuff, you know,
Yep.
America at the end of the day. And so being able to have good conversation with like-minded folks, I think, is an awesome tool. I'm really looking forward to seeing the different folks from different organizations and having conversation with them and kind of seeing what insights they have, you know, on where the industry's at and where it's headed. So I just wanted to caveat that
for sure.
off of what you had, you know, said.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no
I'm
doubt. We're
stoked.
excited. We're pumped, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. We'll see you out there.